Hey, Redeeming Grace Church family and friends, Pastor Josh here with the weekly update for October 3rd of 2022. And I thought I would just list off some of the ways that our members, our covenant members, are involved in formal ministry beyond the scope of Redeeming Grace Church. For example, Bob works part-time on the administrative side of our Dakota Baptist Convention. The 86 churches that make up the North and South Dakota Convention work together to plant churches, train pastors, strengthen churches, send missionaries as part of a smaller section of the larger Southern Baptist Convention. And so Bob is regularly working with pastors to help connect them with resources and just helping us cooperate together across the two states. Bob also, he and Betty are gone many Sundays, and that's because Bob actually rotates between 3 different churches that don't have pastors right now, and he goes and preaches the word to them. And so while we miss having them with us on Sundays, they are going out and they are serving, and our loss is their gain in the sense that they're helping shepherd, and Redeeming Grace is getting to make an investment in those churches through Bob and Betty and his ministry and their ministry in those churches. Another highlight is that Justin works full-time at John Witherspoon College, which is a classical Christian college teaching liberal arts here to students. And so Justin is teaching things like history of Christianity, history of theology. He teaches Greek and theology, just a whole lot of areas around the Bible, theology, Christian thinking, Christian history. And so he is every day spending time shaping young people and old people who are taking classes through John Witherspoon and helping them have a biblical worldview and engage in the world in an effective way. And so Justin is, we get to share in that ministry through Justin. And if you're interested in taking a class or being engaged in John Witherspoon College, would encourage you to talk to Justin, because there's some neat things that are happening that maybe you don't know about at John Witherspoon College. Also, Scott Martin, the church planting resident here that we have, you know Scott, Jessica. Scott preaches regularly. In fact, he's preaching this next Sunday. He leads Life Inc., which is kind of the development and education side of Love Inc.'s ministry. So he's on the front lines of engaging in matters of poverty in our community and helping us connect with other churches. And so we get to support that ministry through Scott's investment there, and we get to benefit from that partnership. And there are dozens of ways that you could be involved if you want to find out more about how to be engaged with Love Inc. and Life Inc. Also, Ben and Vanessa Kaiser, they started a podcast called Inspiring Heights, and sort of a hobby podcast, but also just using a lot of their skills and knowledge to help people think well about how to manage their life, and weaving gospel truths and scripture in there. Really, they're doing a really good job with that. So I'd encourage you to consider finding that on a podcast player, giving them a rate and review just to help kind of build their platform and bring more people into that. But it's just sort of a neat thing that they're doing to try to extend ministry, create some avenues of encouragement to people. And so that's kind of a neat thing that they've just started and are doing well. Obviously, we've got Sarah Eben, who has been a part of our church since we planted, and she is on staff full-time with Young Life, and has just taken a new position where she's leading most of what is happening here in Rapid City related to Young Life. And so there are so many great advantages to Young Life. They have access into the schools and into areas of teenage life in our community that is really hard for just about anybody else to get to. So they create some wonderful platforms for Christian adults to connect with lost kids and build relationships with them, just help them kind of make sense of their life, navigate all the craziness in our world and in the schools, and bring Christ to bear on it. And so pray for Sarah. And if you're ever interested in being involved in that ministry, there's dozens of ways to get involved in that. In fact, the banquet is tonight that we'll attend to support her and to support the ministry of Young Life. Those are some of the formal ways that our people are involved in, like official ways, like in other ministries. There's obviously, we could go down the list, and just about every one of our members is involved in ministry through supporting their time or engagement in other areas of ministry, either within our church or beyond. But I wanted to highlight those in particular so that you would pray for them, and also to just reinforce the idea that we want to be a church that is not just looking to establish our kingdom and pull all of the resources of our church and our people just to serve us, but to also push it out and to be a blessing so that other churches, other ministries would be grateful that we exist because we invest in them. We're not competing with them, we're investing in them, because we believe the kingdom is bigger than our little church, and we believe that our church can be a wonderful place where our members can come, can be refreshed, can be encouraged, can be built up, and then can go out and be effective ministers wherever they are. We obviously could highlight many others in our church who lead other people, who lead businesses, or people in the military, or just all of the various areas of service and ministry that are not formal ministries, but are you're ministering through your vocation. And we just want to continue to highlight that. And one of the ways that we want to make sure that our church is simple enough that we're not so busy with church stuff that we can't be effective in our neighborhoods and our jobs. We're just too tired. At the same time, we want to make sure that we're having enough as a church that our ministries aren't all isolated from each other, but connected together. Our family meetings are important for that. Things like this weekend's neighborhood breakfast, for a good chunk of our church to come and for us to witness and serve as a church, not just as isolated individuals, but as a church together, also is an important thing. So that's one of the balances that we're trying to strike here, is to not be so busy that we can't push you out and equip you to do the ministry and have the margin to do what you are called to do, while at the same time us ministering as a body. So we just encourage you to pray and maybe consider ways that you can encourage and support those that are in formal ministry. Also, be encouraged and look for opportunities to encourage one another in just the ordinary ministry of life, in neighborhoods, on Little League teams, in your jobs, just in your neighborhoods, all those different avenues that you might have. And be strategic, be thoughtful on how you can be ministers where you are. And take advantage of the times like furniture deliveries and this Saturday's neighborhood breakfast for us to do so together as a body as well. So trying to strike that balance all the time. Pray, labor, look at your calendar, look at your schedule, look at your budget, and let's try to think through where that right balance is as a church and as individuals of witnessing and serving together, and also scattering and being witnesses where we are. So I love you. Thank you for all the ways that you serve. I know this is only scratching the surface of the things we do in our community. Let's just be encouraged. Let's find ways to encourage each other. Let's continue to serve the Lord in the ways that He has put in front of us. And if there's any way that I can be praying for you, or prayer requests that you would like to go out to our prayer team, just shoot me an email, a text, or use the form that's around to submit those prayer requests. And we would love to just continue to build one another up in the ministry that we're all doing in various places. So I love you. Hope to see you at the breakfast this Saturday. Men, I hope you sign up for the men's retreat, and I'll catch you next week.